Hello. I have this feeling extremely regularly, much more regularly than I'd like, where I feel like I'm just sitting around and waiting for something to happen. Now, this often occurs when I've got something in the afternoon or in the evening in particular. And basically what happens is I don't get anything done and I sit there and I wait. And it's not like a happy wait, like I'm not waiting happily. It's a wait where I'm like, and I feel really shit and anxious about it. I get nothing done and then I feel guilty and rubbish about my life. Then I get this thing done and then I can get stuff done. Like, does that make sense? I don't know. But it's very unsettling. It's an unsettling feeling. And today I want to cover how to get over waiting mode. It's a state that I've been in pretty much all day. So I'm going to talk to you about how that went. And we're going to talk about where does it come from, associations with other mental health diseases, and how to manage it. So if you're new here, by the way, I'm Dawn, I'm a doctor, and I discuss lots of mental health afflictions, and I basically how to get over life problems, but mainly related to our own mental issues and problems in life as being a human, because being a human's bloody complicated. I'm sorry, but you can tell me it isn't and I wouldn't believe you. So I always try to make it a little bit positive, make it a little bit fun and lighthearted. It's not that serious, okay? I like to have a good time and I want you to have a good time too. So let's get into it. Okay, so today I will be very open and honest with you guys. I had a counselling appointment. I have one every 2 weeks because I bloody need it, alright? I got a counsellor, I think, just at the end of the pandemic, and I've kept her ever since because I need one. I'm sorry, I do. I have a lot of issues. I think humans have a lot of issues, but I feel like I have a lot of issues in particular. I don't know, I guess maybe I find them very useful to talk about. I don't know if I have that many issues. I don't want you thinking I'm like an absolute mess. I'm like a mild mess. I'm like, oh, the dog was sick on the floor, but she licked it up, and so there's a tiny bit of mess left, but not like she didn't leave all the sick. So that's actually an issue in my life right now. I need to clean the sick from downstairs and I haven't done it. Okay, I forgot about that until just now. So today I had my counselling appointment at 6:15 in the evening. I woke up, I'm not happy about this, I'm not proud, I'm trying to get back into a routine. I feel very guilty about waking up so late. Like, don't even get me started, please don't house me on it because I'm already feeling guilty about it myself. I woke up at 1:30 because, thank bloody God, but because this lady was banging on the door, making the dogs bark, and she wanted to deliver a parcel. Fair enough, it's her bloody job, right? So I went and looked out the window and I was like, just leave it down there. But she was like, I can't, it needs a picture or something, I don't know. So I was like, okay, I'm coming down. And so I came down, got the package in my dressing gown, looked like a mess. But like, yeah, mild mess, hopefully. But she was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, I know, it's 1:30, I should be awake anyway, but I'm not. And so I took the package in, and then I just like sort of, it was quite nice actually. We fucked about just lying in bed, chatting, Tom and I, not my other personalities. And then, yeah, I had a phone call, fairly unimportant. But anyway, so we just laid in bed. I can't even remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, how my day went today. And then, I knew that I had to get stuff done. So basically I've been having I don't know, I'm stressed about something. It's hard when you're in it to really know what you're stressed about, but I think there's a lot of things. But in particular, I was stressed today, and I think sometimes I do go into this waiting mode, like a freeze response. I don't know if it's related to everything else that's going on, or I don't know if it's related to, I don't know, just actually being in waiting mode. I am wondering if it's because I have a lot of other things going on. So I'm already anxious, which makes my waiting mode kind of kick in a bit more, because I think it's personally related to anxiety, but we will discuss that in a minute. And so I went on a phone call, felt quite happy about that. Then I took the bin out, which was quite a task for me. I actually did some chores. And then I went and sat outside and I journaled. It sounds like I did stuff, but I don't really think that I like really got into stuff, you know. It was like short things that I did, and I always had this feeling in the back of my head that I was like, oh, I've got this appointment later. And I don't always get this. I don't always get this feeling, but today it was particularly bad, and I'm going to discuss in a minute why it makes me so anxious. But anyway, I had this counselling appointment in the evening, and then I took dogs for a walk. I did a lot of stuff, a medium amount of stuff, but very tentatively and not fully. So I wrote this episode, but I was like, oh, I'd quite like to go and do the podcast. But I was like, I don't want to like get into it and then have to stop. And that is one of my issues, is that I'm always worried that I'm either going to lose track of time and I'll be like, oh shit, like I was supposed to be in this appointment and I missed it, because that's happened before a few times. Or I'm not going to want to leave what I get involved in. So I'll start podcasting and then I'll stop and then I'll have to like edit it. And I get this kind of feeling that I'm like, oh, I don't really want to stop what I'm doing, because I feel like you're disturbing me now. This appointment is disturbing my life, disturbing what I'm doing. Just let me get on with what I was already doing. I just get like super hyper focused into it, and I'm like, no, you can't stop me now. I also feel like 6:15 is not a weird time. Like, it's not an awkward time. If you went to work, that would be a perfectly fine time. But the issue is I got up at like 2. So then I had like 4 hours, which didn't really feel like a whole, it wasn't a whole day. But if I had a whole day, it would feel like, well, I can carry on doing loads of stuff. Or would the waiting mode just have been prolonged? I don't know. But I think if I had the whole day, if I got up at 10, I would have been able to fit a podcast in, as well as all the other things that I'd done. So it's currently 8:30 at night and I'm doing it now. But we're still getting it done. At least I've done something. That's what's important. And this is Tuesday today. This is getting released in 2 days. What a fucking miracle. I never this organised. So often I'm doing it like an hour before midnight. So I'm like, shit, I need to get this done. And it's not a great place to be, because I like to podcast when I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling happy, when I'm feeling talkative, when I'm feeling energetic. And I don't really want to do it like I did it on Thursday, I think it was, after work. And I was really like tired, and no, it was Monday, sorry. Don't know why I said Thursday. Oh, because it was Thursday last week. Anyway, Monday yesterday after work, I was like, CBA. I just don't feel like I gave my best, I was a bit like, I was quite tired. And anyway, what was it even about? I can't remember now. Career existential crisis? Maybe. Oh, health anxiety. That's what it was about. So if you haven't heard that one, then it's available. I don't know what I was going to say there. So I'm in a good mood. We're talking. We're having a good time. And I hope you're having a good time too. Anyway, I think my biggest fear is that I feel like I said, that I'm going to miss the appointment or whatever it is. But the thing is, if I have something on really late, like 8 p.m. tomorrow, is it tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow I've got something on really late at 8 p.m. I don't necessarily worry about that, because it's not like in the middle of a time period, So 6:15 is kind of in between what time I got up to 2ish, and then like whatever time I go to bed, which I'd hope would be before 12 tonight, may not be. And it's like, I don't know, it's just in this like awkward period. I would rather have it really early or really late, and then I've got this kind of free time in the middle. That's how I like to do things. For me, 6:15 at that point was just like a really awkward time. It was like in the middle, and I was like, oh, I feel really uneasy. And I don't know, I think some of it is I do have anxiety generally, and although I may not look like it, I do. A lot of people don't think I have anxiety, like, because I look fucking fine. And I'm not saying you need to look like a neurotic mess to have anxiety, but I am quite a chill person, but I get overwhelmed. When I get overwhelmed, I actually freeze, so I don't look anxious. I'm just like, if you are listening, then I just basically looks normal. So it's kind of good and bad. It's the same for when I'm tired. I don't look tired. It's the same for when I've been crying. This is a good one, actually. When I've been crying, I don't look like I've been crying. And that is a fucking skill right there. I'm pretty sure it's, I don't know, genetic or something. But something happened in the womb I developed that magical skill, and here I am today. No one ever knows that I'm crying unless I'm actively sobbing in the middle of a breakdown. So it's happened quite a lot recently because life's stressful right now. Financial issues. So I'm sharing a lot today. I'm an open person. What can I say? Like, you probably can be a podcaster and not be a very open person, but if you're going to put yourself in front of a camera, talk to a microphone at yourself for an hour, like, and talk about your mental health issues, you're going to need to be open. So here I am. I have often wondered whether I have, recently especially, I've wondered if I've got ADHD. I get very hyper-focused on things, like obsessively focused on things sometimes. But other times I also really am all over the place. I start things and don't finish them regularly. I get bored halfway through things. I regularly forget what I'm saying in the middle of a sentence. And I get overwhelmed very easily by a lot of tasks. And yeah, so I don't know. But I don't know, I did an episode on this as well recently, on does everybody really have ADHD? Because I am in a torn place. I have anxiety, like, I don't doubt that. But I'm like, did I struggle so much in my first years of being a doctor? Because I had I had depression, but also did I have a bit of ADHD where I couldn't like concentrate and like focus and deal with the stress? I don't know. Maybe that's some of the issue. But when I really fucking love something, it's kind of ironic, like it's kind of a bit backwards, but it's like, how can you have one symptom in like a disease, but then have completely the opposite symptom? It makes no sense to me. But, it's like saying, oh, I have depression. I am often, really sad and suicidal. But like, I can be really fucking happy and like ecstatic. Do you know what I mean? I guess that's bipolar. But yeah. Maybe ADHD is like a attention bipolar. Wow. Maybe that's what it would be called one day. I'm going to bloody copyright that. Only joking. So, yeah, I often wonder if I have ADHD. Recently in particular, because it's got a lot of press, a lot of people have it, a lot of people seemingly have it in Bristol, especially in the creative sphere. And I don't know if I don't know. I'm very torn. I said about it in this episode. I was like, I don't know if I'd want a diagnosis. Would it be helpful? I think it probably would, but would it just give me an excuse to behave badly? I don't know. Would I want to go on medications? I don't know. Would it change me? Probably. I just realised that I left my yogurt outside of the fridge and Tom's going to be mad at me about that with a spoon in it. Oh well. So it is a symptom of ADHD, this waiting mode thing, but it's also a symptom of anxiety, or a type of anxiety. So it's like, I don't know. But I'm not saying just because you have a symptom of something it means you have the whole disorder, I could I don't know, I was going to say like have hallucinations, but that's never a good sign. I could be, have suicidal thoughts on like one day, and that doesn't mean I've got depression, So who knows? It's an ongoing concern, or I don't know if it's a concern, but it's an ongoing question in my mind. Do I have ADHD as well as anxiety, or is my anxiety just ADHD? I don't know. I remember when I was in F1, they were like, do you want to go and get tested for like, maybe you've got an alternative diagnosis, maybe depression and anxiety isn't right. And I was like, you fucking what, mate? You what? You're telling me that I thought they were trying to say I had some kind of personality disorder or autism, and I was like, fucking no, I'm not going and getting tested. Like, not quite that aggressive, but I was like, what? No thank you, I am okay. I don't have a learning disability or like autism or whatever you want to get me diagnosed with. But now I think about it, I'm like, maybe I should have done. I don't think I was in my right mind to be able to do that at that point though. So I don't know, but here I am, talking about my waiting mode that I literally experienced today. So it is fresh in the mind. And I'm trying to think, like, how would I have overcome my waiting anxiety today? And I know that I've done it before, but I think given that I was stressed about other things today, I feel like that contributed to to my waiting anxiety even more. Like, sometimes I can kind of get past it, but today was like a no. It was a no. You will not do anything. Like I said, I did do some stuff, but I don't feel like I did anything like really, where I got my head stuck in and did stuff. But that is actually one of the ways to get over it. Get over it or feel less shit about it anyway, is to just do things that are kind of easy, mindless activities. That's kind of what I did today. I, journaled, something that I can just like get into and just get out of really easily, because the biggest fear for me is that I get into something and then I'm like, fuck's sake, I've got to stop it now, and I just really don't want to. Like, when I get into podcasting, you can't stop me halfway through. Like, I need to keep going. It's just, it's a desire in me, and when I start editing, like, I'm sorry, I ain't gonna stop. I need to keep going, because I don't know, you get into a flow. I get into a flow and I'm like, yeah, can't stop me now. I'm in a creative flow. I'm having a ball. What a lot of energy today. I don't know what's happened. I just ate an apple. I just had a little snacky and I'm feeling good. All right. So there we go. I'm really sorry about my occasional coughing. I'm still getting over a bloody disease, a disease of the respiratory tract. I had some kind of aspiration pneumonia. I don't know, don't get me started. And I'm over that, but the cough still lingers. It still continues. The stomach acid obviously burnt away the inside of my trachea or something. So there we go. So yeah, doing mindless activities. So for me today it was journaling, like I said. I took the bin out, bloody miracle. I put my washing on. Just things that are quick and easy, but they still need doing. You can't forget that they exist. Like, you still have to do those tasks. And my neighbour is also like bloody loves gardening, and I love him because he loves gardening. So I'm like, go for it. He's retired and he just, I don't know, he's just always gardening. So he's got a lot of time, and he was like, do you want me to come and mow your lawn? And I was like, yes. Our lawnmower broke. I wouldn't usually ask him, but I asked him, can I use your lawnmower? And he was like, yeah. And then he knocked on the door and he was like, do you want me to come and mow the lawn? And I was like, okay, if you want to. I don't know, maybe he probably thought I was going to break his lawnmower. That's probably what it was. And he probably thought, she's not going to do this right, silly bitch. But I don't know, maybe he's just nice. He did come and trim our bush the other day and come and fix our fence. Like, he is a handy man to have around. Like, I'm enjoying living next door to him. And the lady the other side, very nice as well, but gives me food. So I was really sad the other day. She gave me some couscous. What can you say, eh? She didn't know I was sad, but I was. Crying had occurred that day, as it has done for many of the recent days. And yeah, couscous just saved my life that day. I think it was Sunday. I was like, yeah, girl, bring me some couscous. Whenever somebody offers me free food, I'm never going to say no. Like, you offer me free, unless it's like awful, I'm always going to say yes. So I watched my neighbour mow my lawn. Now, I actually helped him. Some of it needed cutting with shears, by hand. And I also needed to like set it up, with the, what's it called? The extension lead. He didn't need supervising, but I was there on hand, on call if he needed me. Also, the camera just switched off, the little fucker. So we may have just lost all that footage, but it's okay, we're powering on. At the end, I'll explain my Patreon page. It would be great if you guys could, help me out, because to make the content, if you like it. If you don't, then just be on your merry way. That's fine. But I mean, if you made it 23 minutes in, you're doing pretty well. But basically, I need a new video camera, because this little fucker turns off every half an hour / when it runs out of battery. Anyway, that's a story for another day. I have talked about it before, but that was a quick little side note. I'll explain it at the end. It is Diaries of a Doctor on Patreon if you want to go have a look. But yeah, whatever. I hate asking people for things. Hate asking people for money. So I'm very sorry. That was my ad over. Okay, so did I get anything else done? Not really. I did get that phone call done. Quite good. Yeah. So just get easy, mindless activities done. Number 2, following on from the easy life, easy breezy, is get easy things done first. If you've got a lot of activities that you need to do and you're like, I'm overwhelmed, and it kind of puts waiting mode on. I always find if I write them down, get them out your little noggin and put them down pen to paper, and then you've brain dumped it all out, I find that then I can like organize what I'm doing. And I always find it easier the fewer things I have on my list. Okay, finish the sentence, Dawn. Fewer things on my list work way better for me. So the more easy things I can tick off, the happier I'll be. I don't mind if there's harder stuff later, as long as I've got 90% of whatever I need to do done. But there are some people in this world, this may be you, who prefer getting the harder stuff out the way, having the difficult stuff done, and then the easy stuff is just easy to get through. So they'd rather have that left. But I'm the opposite, and you need to find out which one works for you. So if you get all of these things done, and something that I've done recently is when I get really fucking frozen and I'm like, I don't know what to do at all, I ask somebody else. I'm like, right, these are the things I've got to do. Sometimes my brain function just goes out the window and I'm like, I honestly don't know where to start. I know where's probably advisable to start, but I need someone to tell me. So Tom has been very helpful with that. My boyfriend, I'm like, Tom, I've got so much to do and I'm so overwhelmed, and literally he's like, right, well just let's have a look at what you got to do. And then he's like, okay, why don't you start with that one? And I'm like, yes, okay, I'll start with that one. I had the same. His mum had to come and help me sort the house out when we moved in because I was so overwhelmed by everything that needed doing that I couldn't do any of it. It's a common problem. I get it when I'm working as a doctor as well, but the issue is a lot of the time, well, not the issue, the good thing is a lot of the time the nurses kind of kick you up the arse and say, I need this done now. So you're just like, okay, well now I know what to do. But with like discharge summaries, because usually you've got a lot of them, or sometimes you do, I'm like, right, which one's more urgent? And then you can get somebody else to tell you what job you should start with. It's honestly great. I don't like people telling me what to do until I need them to tell me what to do. So that is a vibe. So number 3, I've kind of talked about this one already, journaling. Getting like mind dumping all of your thoughts, all of the things you need to do, all of the things you're stressed about. And I did that today and it did help. And then I had my counselling session and that helped because in a way that's kind of like a brain dumping exercise, just going blah, 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 blah. Here's all my problems, fucking absorb them or whatever you want to do with them. But podcasting, another way of just, getting everything off your mind. Kind of like, if you've got resolve for it, some people don't want to share their deepest, darkest secrets. Some people are quite private. I'm not really, and I don't really care. So if you're like me, actually podcasting might not be that bad an idea. If you're quite happy to share your sitch with people, then it's kind of another way to just, get rid of all your thoughts. But it doesn't really help you with getting your tasks done. And that is where you need pen and paper. I prefer pen and paper. It's gold standard, you just look, even to plan my episodes, I write it on pen and paper. I've tried so many methods, pen and paper, I always come back to it. I just love the tangible feeling, and sometimes my brain works so quickly that I need to just be able to write in different places and sort it out later. Whereas when you've got a computer, it actually just slows me down because I want to be like click, 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 click. And when you've got pen and paper, it's just like bam, done. But also I think pen and paper slows me down in a way because when I've got pen and paper, I don't really want to stop halfway through a word or a sentence. It doesn't feel right. So, but when I'm on a computer, it doesn't bother me as much. So I end up just leaving sentences unfinished, and who knows what they meant or where they were going. Not me, not you, not anyone. So if I don't know, then no one knows, and then if no one knows, then everyone doesn't know. And that's a problem because I need to know. So one thing that I've changed as a result of today is to ask my counselling lady, can we do the next session earlier on in the day? Because I cannot be sitting around waiting all day, and I know it's a figment of my imagination. I don't need to be waiting around all day, but I am, because I can't help it. I just can't. I tried, I failed, I conquered. And it's like, if there are ways that I can get rid of that internal turmoil, then I'm going to do so. So next one is at 2:30. Ideally, I would have liked it even earlier, before 12, because when I had my Spanish lessons, I would have them at like 10 or 11. That would fucking kickstart my day, wouldn't it? So then it's done. Then I'm not sitting around waiting for it. Now, the issue is, sometimes life doesn't work out that way, and it's annoying because you're like, well, it would work very much in my favour if we could do this earlier, but I understand that is not possible. So what are you going to do in that case? All right, alarms and timers. I have missed many a thing in my life because I've forgotten about it, and nothing has reminded me otherwise. And I think because of that, because I've forgotten so many times, I am so anxious about forgetting. And maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe that's, maybe the issue is that because I've got PTSD from missing so many appointments and being told off a lot of times, especially in medical school, where they're like, you need to be professional. If you're not professional, then you won't be a doctor. Doctors need to be on time, lol. And you need to be on time as a medical student because we're doctors and we're waiting for you. Anyway, so I missed a lot of appointments as a medical student. It was a fucking nightmare. And you get told off all the time. And yeah, so I've been reprimanded for that many a time. And you get you basically get bad grades because of it. So it's kind of shit. So as a result, maybe that's where I've got my waiting mode from. But because I'm too scared to miss it, I don't want to be told off. And I know the thing is with a counsellor, they're not going to tell me off. I'm just still going to have to pay them and not get any benefit from it. So it's kind of on me, and that's fine. But alarms are something that have changed my life, okay? I don't know what I'd do without them. Well, I know what I'd do. I just fucking forget everything, wouldn't I? Or because I used to have a paper diary and I just forgot to look at it. Kind of ironic. I just would. I know you could get into the habit of it, but I just couldn't. I know I said I love pen and paper, but a paper diary didn't work for me. And also because I need a diary on me at all times. Because if something comes up and someone's like, oh, do you want to do this thing on Wednesday? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm out and about, I need to write it down right there and then, put it in my calendar, set an alarm, okay? Because if I don't, you better believe that I'm not going, because I'll forget. So, if I was like, oh, I don't have my diary on me right now, but I'll do it when I get home, and then I just don't. Sorry if that's happened to you and you're part of my life. It actually did happen to one of my friends the other day. I'm sorry, Izzy, if you're listening, because I said, oh, we don't need to book this class, this exercise class. And then guess what? I forgot it existed and I didn't go, and that wasn't good. So, it's can be disastrous. And now nobody died, but it made everyone involved very upset. So I did try a few alarm apps, and actually all of them are shit. Sorry, they were. I tried Gal Alarm, I tried Get Things Done, I tried scheduling app, which I can't remember the name of. I don't know. I tried all the apps that I could find, and I thought, nah, they're all too much, they're all too complicated. I wanted just a fucking diary. So I had my calendar in my, iCalendar, just the normal Apple calendar app, and I have that in my phone, and all of my appointments and stuff are on there. So I was like, okay, I'll just carry on using that. Now the issue with that is that it doesn't have an alarm. It has a reminder setting, but not an alarm setting where if you say, I need you to set an alarm for me an hour before, it will, but it will just go, you put something in an hour, and not make a noise about it, and not make a big deal, and not actually you have to look at your phone and go, oh yeah, I've got a thing in an hour, and turn it off. It's you have to remember actively on that day, or to go onto your timers or your alarms and put it in on your actual alarms, rather than, I still get reminders. Now I set alerts on my calendar app for literally everything, because I forget. 2 alerts as well. I have a very good memory, but appointments evade me. I think because my mind is always somewhere else. I'm podcasting, I'm videoing, I'm sleeping, I'm just doing something else, I'm very easily distracted. So I will often forget appointments regularly, in fact, if I don't have a system. So medical school taught me that, how to be a routine queen. And I've basically obviously failed in that, but how to remember to go to appointments and meetings. So alerts for everything. And if you're in waiting mode, what you can do is make sure you've got your phone on you or it's on loud, and make sure it sets an obnoxious, horrible noise that you're not going to ignore. It's not going to be like the sound of birds tweeting that might just be a real life noise. And it sets an alert within an appropriate amount of time, but not too soon. You know, if you set an alert like an hour before a counselling session that's online, then you're sort of just sitting around like, well, I've got an alert, now what? But set it 15 minutes before, perfect amount of time to like finish what you're doing, potentially, go and set the computer up and go and sit down and get a glass of water and get ready, and maybe some tissues. No, I didn't use any today. But if you're doing something where, you have to get to a counselling appointment at a hospital that's half an hour drive away, then you might want to set your alarm half an hour before. But you don't want to like jump the gun, and be sitting around then waiting after your alarm's gone off or timer. You also don't want to miss it. So that is one thing with alarms, is that I always miss them because they don't make enough noise. So timers, very useful. They make a lot of noise, and you usually you can only really set them in that week, because you can't set them on a date, you can only set them on a day. So if it's Monday and you want to set an alarm for next Monday or next Sunday, say, as in it's Monday, then a week, and then the week after, you can't do that because you could only set it for the Sunday that's just coming, which is kind of annoying, and that is a big flaw of the timer app on the iPhones. Please change it, Apple, if you're listening. So I have a little widget on my iPhone home screen, and it shows me what I've got to do that day. And that is great, it reminds me to look at my calendar, because if it wasn't there, I would forget to even look at my calendar. It reminds me to look at it, and I can look without even opening my home screen. I can go, oh, I've got that today, and then I don't forget it. And then if I need to, I could set a timer for that later on in the day. Look, in summary, waiting mode, shit. I hate it, because you're waiting for something and you could be productive, but then you feel guilty, then you feel more stressed, and then you feel bad because you're like, oh, I need to go and do stuff, but I'm kind of waiting for this one thing to happen. It's not ideal. It's not. But look, I hope the things that I've talked about today have helped somewhat. And if you guys have got any other tips, I will benefit from them too. So please write them in the comments down below. I would love to hear about them. If you've got any other ways to try and, get out this waiting mode. I think what would have helped me today was to get up earlier and to have a routine. But alas, Gal did not do that. She's working on it, okay? So yeah, leave a comment down below. As I said earlier, my Patreon, I will leave it in the link as well, and in the description even, if you're listening on YouTube. But if you're listening on the podcast, you got me in your ears. Hello, welcome. I find it so crazy that you guys listen to me. Like, I love you a lot. Like, thanks for listening. And if you could give me a rating on wherever you listen to podcasts, by the way, if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, you can actually listen on the go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts. I am not just subject to a computer screen on YouTube. I do actually record the audio as well and put that out separately. So there are many ways to listen. I will also leave my podcast website in the description down below. And yeah, share it with your friends. If you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, please let me know. I would love to do them. I think coming up is dissociation. I keep saying I'm going to do that and then just not doing it, but I am going to. I've also got the ultimate self-care guide coming up. Self-love. I've also had a lot of afflictions with having some issues with my creative mind, so I would love to delve more deeply into that. Humans are just complicated, aren't we? So there's a lot to talk about, but I like to keep it positive and happy, and there's always a way out. So anyway, guys, like I said, thanks for listening, and I upload every Mondays and Thursdays, so I'll see you next week. Love ya. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to quickly say, this isn't going to be on the video actually, so this is a sneaky little bonus just for the audio listeners, because I've turned the camera off now and taken the memory card out, etc. So sneaky little bonus, this is my 50th episode. If you've been listening for all this time, wow, thank you very much. I just wanted to do a little announcement, basically. 50, halfway to 100, halfway to triple figures. That's a lot of episodes, that's a lot of hours of me talking. So if you've got, you know, a long haul flight coming up, download all of me and then just listen. You know, if you're going to Australia, have a listen. You could do 2 trips, one there and one back with only my content. And wow, maybe you'll see a progression through the years, because it's been going nearly 2 years now. So I would imagine that I have definitely, well, I have changed over that time, but hopefully gotten better at it. Anyway, like I said, guys, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in a couple of days.